You sit in front of a fire, and for a few minutes your brain forgets how to be modern. Maybe it is a campfire, a fireplace, a candle, a grill, or even one of those fake fireplace videos people play on a screen, which is honestly a strange thing to invent, but also completely understandable. Nothing useful is happening. The flames are not giving you Wi-Fi. They are not answering emails. They are not paying rent. They just move, crackle, glow, and somehow your body starts acting like this is important. Your shoulders drop a little. Your eyes stop jumping from one thing to another. The room feels softer. The night feels less aggressive. Even conversation changes near fire. People speak slower. Silences become less awkward. Someone tells a story they have already told before, and for some reason it works better with orange light moving across their face. Fire does not just warm the air, it changes the mood of the human animal sitting beside it. So why does fire still calm your ancient brain? Why can a moving flame hold your attention longer than most things that are supposedly designed to hold your attention? The answer is not just that fire is pretty. Pretty does not explain why humans built entire evenings around it for hundreds of thousands of years. Pretty does not explain why a small flame can make darkness feel controlled, cold feel less personal, and a group of people feel more like a group. For your ancestors, fire was not decoration, it was a boundary. On one side, light, heat, cooked food, voices, tools, children, faces, safety. On the other side, cold, darkness, predators, uncertainty, and every sound that could not be explained. Your brain learned to read fire as more than light. It learned to read fire as a message. The night has not disappeared, but it has been pushed back, and maybe that is why, even now, some part of you still relaxes when flames begin to move. Here is the reframe. Fire did not calm humans because humans were sentimental about flames. It calmed humans because for most of your species' story, fire meant the world had become more manageable. A camp without fire was exposed to cold, insects, raw food, darkness, and whatever moved best when human eyes worked worst. A camp with fire was still vulnerable, but it was no longer helpless. The night had a center. The group had a boundary. The dark had a place where it had to stop. That matters because calm is not just a feeling. Calm is information. Your nervous system relaxes when it believes the environment is predictable enough to stop scanning every corner like a suspicious security camera. Fire gave ancient humans exactly that kind of signal. It made faces visible. It made sounds easier to place. It made predators more cautious. It made food safer. It gave hands something to do after sunset and gave the group a reason to stay close. Around fire, the world did not become safe in the modern sense, but it became readable. So the real question is not why fire feels comforting. The real question is why a human brain would not find it comforting. For an animal that feared the dark, needed warmth, depended on other people, and survived by remembering danger, fire was almost absurdly meaningful. It was technology, shelter, kitchen, weapon, signal, social room, and nightlight at the same time. That is why a flame can still feel peaceful today, even when you do not need it to survive. Your modern brain may know the heating system works and the doors are locked, but the older brain underneath still recognizes the pattern. Light in the dark, warmth in the cold. People gathered close, danger pushed farther away. Before electric light, night was not just the other half of the day. It was a different world. When the sun disappeared, distance collapsed, the horizon vanished. Faces turned into shapes. A familiar camp shrank to the small circle where firelight reached, and beyond that circle, everything became guesswork. For a species that survived by reading tracks, gestures, movement, and tiny changes in the landscape, losing vision was not a small inconvenience. It was a crisis of information. This is why fire mattered so much. It did not simply make people warmer. It returned part of the world to human control. A flame made hands visible again. It made tools usable after sunset. It let someone scrape a hide, shape wood, repair a point, cook food, feed children, and watch another person's expression while they spoke. Fire extended the useful day, but more importantly, it made night social. Without it, darkness pulled attention outward toward every unknown sound. With it, people gathered inward toward light, heat, faces, and voices, and the world outside that light was not imaginary. Ancient humans lived among predators that were stronger, faster, quieter, and often better suited to darkness than the human body. Leopards, hyenas, lions, wolves, bears, snakes, insects, and rival human groups all made night complicated. Fire did not erase these dangers, but it changed the calculation. Smoke pushed insects away. Light made stealth harder. Heat made the center of camp more livable. A burning boundary told many animals that this group was not sleeping like ordinary prey. So the ancient context is this. Fire was one of the first ways humans changed what night meant. Before fire, Night was something that happened to the body. With fire, night became something humans could organize. They could sit longer, speak longer, teach longer, remember longer. The flame became a small artificial sunrise, held in place by wood, attention, and cooperation. The evidence begins deep in caves and old fire scars. At Wonderwork Cave in South Africa, archaeologists found microscopic wood ash and burned bone in a layer dated to about 1 million years ago. That matters because the traces were found deep inside the cave, not just near an entrance where a wildfire could casually sweep through and take credit. It suggests that early humans or their relatives were already bringing fire into protected spaces, turning darkness into heat, light, and a social center. At Gesher Beno Yaakov in Israel, the evidence gets even more organized. Burned flint, seeds, and wood dating to roughly 790,000 years ago were found in patterns that suggest repeated fire use in specific places. In plain English, this looks less like random burning and more like controlled hearths. Fire was not just something humans noticed, it was something they managed, returned to, and built life around. Then there is cooking. Richard Wrangham, the Harvard primatologist behind the cooking hypothesis, argued that cooked food changed human evolution because it made calories easier to digest. A fire did not just warm the body from the outside. It helped unlock more energy from food, which matters when the brain is expensive, the gut is working, and survival depends on getting more from every bite. And the calming effect is not only ancient guesswork. In a modern study, anthropologist Christopher Lynn found that watching a hearth or campfire, especially with sound, was associated with lower blood pressure and relaxation. That does not prove your brain reacts exactly like a Paleolithic camp brain, but it does suggest something important. Fire still pulls the body toward calm, attention, and social ease. Put the clues together, and fire becomes more than a tool. It becomes one of the oldest environments your nervous system learned to trust. The mechanism is simple. Fire gives your nervous system several safety signals at once. It gives light so the dark becomes smaller. It gives warmth so the body spends less energy fighting cold. It gives sound, a steady crackle that makes the environment feel less empty. It gives a center, a place where people look, sit, talk, cook, repair tools, and notice each other. For an ancient brain, that combination was powerful. Light matters because fear grows in missing information. A dark space forces the brain to guess. Fire reduces the guessing. It makes faces visible, which is important because humans are deeply social animals. A face in firelight tells you who is nearby, who is awake, who is calm, who is worried, who needs help. In a small group, reading those signals was survival information. Fire turned scattered bodies into a readable community. Warmth matters because cold keeps the body on alert. A cold body tightens, shivers, burns fuel, and becomes more stressed. Fire tells the body that some immediate pressure has been reduced. Smoke matters too. It can push away insects, which means fewer bites, less irritation, and possibly less disease. Even the movement of flame matters. It is unpredictable enough to hold attention, but gentle enough not to demand action. Your eyes can rest on it without solving it. That is why fire feels different from ordinary light. A light bulb illuminates, fire gathers. It gives the brain a small moving world to watch, a warm boundary to trust, and a social signal that says other humans are close. The calm is not mystical. It is ancient pattern recognition. Light, warmth, people, food, protection. The old brain sees the flame and understands. For now, the night is under control. So picture a night long before lamps, screens, and quiet living rooms. The group has eaten what they could find. Tools have been repaired. Children are drifting towards sleep. The world beyond the camp is dark enough to feel physical, like something pressing against the edge of the firelight. A few people sit close to the flames, not because they are wasting time, but because this is where the night becomes survivable. One person turns a stick in the coals. Someone else scrapes a hide, slowly, carefully, because the fire gives just enough light to keep working after sunset. A child watches sparks rise and asks a question that has probably been asked in some form for as long as humans could ask questions. What is out there? An older person answers, maybe with a warning, maybe with a story, maybe with both, because around fire the difference between teaching and storytelling starts to disappear. The flame moves across faces. A tired hunter becomes visible again. A worried mother can see whether her child is cold. A young person can watch how an older hand repairs a tool. The group can read itself. Outside the light, the grass shifts, but inside it, voices stay low and steady. Nobody is perfectly safe. Nobody thinks the world has become harmless. But the fire makes danger less immediate, less shapeless, less everywhere. That is the scene your calm comes from. Not a luxury fireplace. Not a scented candle called Autumn Cabin Regret. A small burning center in a dangerous night, holding people, warmth, food, memory, and attention together. Fire did not just help humans see the dark, it helped humans sit still inside it. Here is the twist. Fire did not just help humans survive the night. It may have helped create the kind of humans who could use the night. Before fire, darkness pushed activity down. It made movement harder, work harder, teaching harder, and social life more dangerous. But once a group could keep a flame alive, night stopped being only a threat. It became extra human time. That extra time mattered. Around fire, people could repair tools, cook food, watch children, share warnings, repeat stories, and teach skills after the sun was gone. A hunt could become a lesson. A strange sound could become a warning tale. A mistake from one person could become knowledge for everyone. Fire turned darkness into a classroom, a social room, and a memory machine. This is the part that makes fire bigger than warmth. A flame gathered bodies close enough for language to matter more. It made faces visible enough for emotion to travel. It gave stories a stage. And stories are not just entertainment. They are how humans move knowledge through time. Where the animals went, which plants hurt, who broke trust, what the dead meant, what children should fear, what the group believed about itself. So the calm you feel near fire may come from something deeper than relaxation. Fire was one of the first technologies that made humans more human. It protected bodies, yes, but it also protected conversation, memory, teaching, imagination, and the fragile social glue that held small groups together. The twist is that fire did not only push back the dark outside the camp, it lit up the human world inside it. So the next time you find yourself staring into a campfire, a fireplace, a candle, or even a fake fire looping on a screen, notice how quickly your body understands the scene. The modern part of you knows exactly what is happening. It is gas, wax, wood, electricity, or pixels pretending to be wood. But the older part of you does not care about the technical details. It sees moving light in darkness. It feels warmth. It hears a soft crackle. It recognizes a pattern that once meant food, people, safety, and a night that had become less dangerous. That does not mean fire is always gentle. Fire can destroy. Your ancestors knew that better than anyone. The same thing that warmed a camp could burn a forest, ruin a shelter, scar skin, and turn careless confidence into disaster. Fire was never harmless. It was powerful, and power has to be watched. But maybe that is part of why it holds your attention. A flame is calm only because it is controlled. It is danger made useful, chaos held in a small bright shape. That is the ancient mirror inside the comfort. When you sit near fire today, you are not just enjoying atmosphere. You are sitting beside one of the oldest agreements humans ever made with the natural world. Feed it and it gives warmth. Guard it and it guards you back. Gather around it and the dark feels farther away. So maybe fire still calms your ancient brain because it is not just light. It is a memory your nervous system can still read. The night is outside, the group is close, the story can begin. And for a little while the dark has to wait.